ilikuwa mingi sana. Tulishangaa kwa wasungu karibu 20 na kitu walimwaga jana. Na kasi ilikuwa jana ilikuwa mingi sana.
Further downstream into the Aror Dam project, we find a group of persons just packing up. A closer look reveals that they have a bit of equipment in their vehicles. Here, I make attempts to familiarize myself with them and get to know their role here. They refuse to talk to us. These faces were not present on site during our last visit here. In fact, not a single vehicle was on site on their material day. Minutes later, 2 Italian men walk into the picture. I approach them and seek to find out their role here and when they arrived. There's a bit of language barrier. They speak very little English, they claim. I don't understand Italian. Half an hour later, we agree on one thing. They landed here on Thursday and Friday. They leave site today.
Yes.
So 2 days here.
Si.
Thursday.
Si.
Friday.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Sa.
Now you go. Aror residents are angered by reports of loss of billions, yet the very basic expenditure of the project, that of compensating residents, has not been honored. For instance, this particular parcel of land where soil drilling and testing is taking place belongs to this old man, but he is yet to receive a coin.
Shamba ya mtu ni ya mtu. Hiyo ni private land. Private land ni shamba ya mwenyewe. Si community land.
Leaders from the region have come out strongly to defend the projects, despite questions that no one seems to answer. Deputy President William Ruto has said only 7 billion was paid and that it had bank guarantees. A group of leaders who support the Deputy President and who include Senate Majority Leader Kipchumba Murkomen say reports of suspect expenditures are meant to derail development in the region.
Tunaomba viongozi wenye tulichagua wasiende tu kupiga mdomo Nairobi, ilali sisi wananchi hapa ground tunaumia.
At around 5 p.m., the Italians tell us they have to leave. Next week, they will have a 2-day visit at Kimwarer Dam for soil testing and analysis. Answers on if or when actual work starts and how long it will take, we'll have to wait for another day. Leisongoi, NTV, in the county of Elgeyo Marakwet.
Now to the continued responses to that cabinet reshuffle yesterday, former Sports Minister Rashid Echesa says he has accepted the president's decision to sack him and that he is grateful for the opportunity to serve as a cabinet secretary. Echesa says he served at the president's pleasure. However, National Assembly Majority Whip Benjamin Washeli says leaders from the region are unhappy with Echesa's sacking.
Yale yamefanyika jana, hata mimi pia niliona kwa TV, and I'm also waiting to be told and be given reasons why I was fired. Otherwise mimi ni Mkenya kama Mkenya mwingine. It is the prerogative of the president to reorganize his government the way he wants. Constitutionally, the president has the mandate, has the powers to fire, to hire, and to appoint.
Leo hii kuona kwamba Rashid amevutwa kazi bila kuelezwa ni jambo gani amefanya. Sisi watu ya Western, aswa watu wa Wanga, watu wa Kakamega County, tumerudi na tumekuwa watu wa kilio. Ama namna gani? Mimi najua kwamba sababu imefanya rais presidency kufuta Rashid sio maneno ya corruption. Kama ingekuwa maneno ya corruption, sisi tunasoma gazeti. Na zile wizara zile zimeshasikika kwamba ziko corrupt. Ni wizara ya kilimo, ni wizara ya maji, ni wizara ya barabara, ni treasury. Mpango ya kutoa waziri imelenga, ni deputy president ule anatutembelea kila wakati. Ile mpango ya kumaliza deputy president sehemu hii, kwa sababu huwa anasema hapa tuko na waziri Rashid Mohamed. Haya tuko hapa na waziri wa Malua.
Well, Malindi Member of Parliament Aisha Jumwa says no by-election will happen in her constituency despite her expulsion from ODM. Now, the defiant MP says she will take the battle to the party, which she accuses of failing to follow proper procedure in expelling her. Now, ODM's National Governing Council on Friday unanimously endorsed a report that recommended her expulsion from the party. Now, Jumwa's Msambweni counterpart Suleiman Dori has taken a U-turn and reiterated that he will respect and remain a loyal member of ODM.
Just a day after ODM's National Governing Council resolved to expel Malindi legislator Aisha Jumwa from the party, Jumwa has come out to dismiss the move, saying she is not scared and will face her political enemies head-on. On Friday, Jumwa was expelled from the party for being disloyal and indisciplined towards the party, as well as accompanying Deputy President William Ruto in his countrywide tours, especially at the coast. However, Jumwa has chided those waiting to see her lose her parliamentary seat.
Hakuna kura zitakazorudiwa ndani ya Malindi. Leo mimi Aisha Jumwa nimekuwa tisho. Nimekuwa tishio. Lakini yule anayesema kwamba Aisha Jumwa tumemmaliza ndio Aisha Jumwa amenuka sasa.
Msambweni MP Suleiman Dori, who also faced expulsion, has had a complete change of heart a day after he survived expulsion after the party's National Governing Council, which deferred its decision on a report that had recommended his expulsion from the party. Dori has vowed to be loyal to ODM.
Mimi bado ni mwanachama wa ODM na nitabakia kuwa mwanachama wa ODM na nitafanya kazi ndani ya chama cha ODM kuhakikisha nimeleta maendeleo katika eneo langu bunge la Msambweni. Na kila mtu anafanya makosa na makosa tunapofanywa ni lazima watu wasameane.
Tribulations of the two legislators started when they publicly declared their support for Deputy President William Ruto's 2022 presidential bid. What remains now is for ODM's Secretary General Edwin Sifuna to notify the Registrar of Political Parties on the party's decision. Thereafter, the Registrar of Political Parties will form a tribunal to listen to Jumwa before notifying the Speaker of the National Assembly of its decision. The Speaker will in turn inform the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission in case there will be a need to hold a by-election in Malindi. However, Jumwa will still have a window to move to the courts to stop her expulsion from ODM. Vincent Odur, NTV.
Still staying with politics, with just a week to the first anniversary of the now popular handshake, it is evident that all is not well if the battle of words between Deputy President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga is anything to go by. Now, the two and their foot soldiers appear to have shed all pretenses at civility and are seemingly intent on locking horns and doing battle. Now, NTV's Daniel Mule examines the utterances that show all is not well and asks, is the handshake a lie?
The March 9th, 2018 handshake caught many by surprise. It appeared to have been crafted by the president and ODM leader Raila Odinga to the exclusion of all others. Raila said as much, but Deputy President William Ruto claimed he was aware of what was coming all along. Despite declaring his support for the handshake severally, Ruto has remained skeptical about it, with his recent utterances and those of his foot soldiers insinuating that his camp may have run out of patience. Ruto, who appeared to have embraced the handshake, now seems to be reading from a different script.
He told his friends that he is coming so that he can break Jubilee. I want to tell him there is a shortage of fools, my friend, in this town and in this country. You will not succeed in breaking Jubilee.
Ruto and his allies also took on Raila Odinga, who had criticized him for saying the Rift Valley Dams probe is about 7 billion and not 21 billion shillings. The Ruto camp is at battle stations.
Some people who who are in government for so many years, rose to higher positions, even up to prime minister, did nothing for this nation, and now come and give us a lecture of which amount of money is equivalent to Mandazi and which amount of money is equivalent to Kideri.
The guilty are afraid. And I think that if there is anyone who should be investigated first in this dam issue, it is Kipchumba Murkomen, because he knows too much. He seems to be knowing too much that we don't know. And also, the deputy president, because he also seems to be knowing more than we know.
If somebody is stealing, don't go and shout there and tell us that, oh, 7 billion shillings is nothing. 7 billion shillings is not pocket change. See, president has.
They told us that if they lose an election, they will go and make mandasi. So you lost the election. Why are you not making mandasi? Why are you bringing mandasi business into a very serious development program?
The Ruto-Odinga relationship has limped along since they fell out in the days of the Grand Coalition. The latest phase has seen them both struggle to put up appearances, it would seem, such as was the case in President Kenyatta's latest tour of Kisii last month.
Na lengo letu sasa ni kuhakikisha ya kwamba tumeunganisha Wakenya.
Tumeketi hapa na ndugu yetu Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga kufuatia mazungumzo yako na yeye,
ili wananchi waweze kujua na kusherehekea mambo ya kushikana mkono.
With the president at work in Ethiopia, the two most powerful politicians around him appear to have decided that they can no longer coexist.
That corruption can now be easily talked about, be seen, and we are seeing an effort to fight it. And this is only possible because of the handshake.
Na ile referendum, the only question that we will support as of now, the deputy president, is to bring more resources to the counties.
Before leaving for Ethiopia, President Kenyatta reorganized his cabinet, hosting DP Ruto's ally, who is also one of Odinga's critics, Rashid Echesa. It begs the question, is the handshake alive and well? Daniel Mule, NTV.
I guess we'll get that answer in days to come. Now away from politics, and the late Mary Wambui, who was killed in the house of her husband's mistress, has been laid to rest today in Mwega, that is in Nyeri County. Family members, including their husband and their son, were overcome by emotions as they laid Wambui to rest. Mary Wambui was murdered on January the 26th, with the chief suspect in the murder, her husband's mistress, Judy Wangui. Her husband, Joseph Kori, was released from police custody last week for lack of evidence linking him to the murder. He had been held for some time in police custody in relation to the incident. Mary was described as a jovial, loving and caring woman. Back to some politics. An Orange Democratic Movement leader, that is Raila Odinga, says he will not campaign for the Ugenya parliamentary candidate in the upcoming by-election due to his busy schedule at the African Union. Now, the AU Special Envoy for Infrastructure and Development, however, urged his supporters to turn out in large numbers and vote for Christopher Karani in the mini poll, which is scheduled for April the 5th. Now to health matters and the family of Ruben Onyango, a man who lost his unborn baby to a difficult labor process after his wife underwent surgery, is accusing Star General Hospital in Lakisama of a case of medical negligence. Now Onyango accuses the hospital of refusing to treat his wife, who was due, because he did not have money to pay up front. Now NTV's Helen Aura reports that Ruben Onyango and his wife have started a legal process against the institution by recording a statement with police.
Ruben Onyango's eyes display a roller coaster of emotions he has been going through since he took his wife to deliver at Star General Hospital on the 17th of last month at midnight.
Alianza kuongea vibaya kutoka kwa gate. Kwa nini tumaibisha gate kwa nguvu? Tukiingia ndani, kabla kutusalimia akasema mko na pesa. Tukaambia ndugu, saizi ni usiku, hatuwezi manage mambo ya pesa saizi. Tulikuwa tunaangalia maisha ya huyu mama akuja deliver.
A doctor who he referred to as Harrison instructed him to go back and get his wife and child to be some clothes as she was about to deliver. He left his uncle to watch over his wife as he rushed home, and that is when the truth of his situation was revealed.
Kuongelesha huyu mzee, hivyo ndio mtu wenyu anakuanga nazalisha watoto wake. Hivyo ndio mtu wenyu, hao watoto wake wote, hivyo ndio alikuwa anawapeleka mama hospitali, anawacha mama namna hiyo. Bila pesa tuwezi hudumia huyo mama. Mama ako huko ndani, sitamshughulikia, muende mlete pesa na manguza mama, ako karibu kuzaa. Atapush kama anajisikia kupush.
In the morning, Ruben took the opportunity to go to work to seek permission. He received an emergency phone call instructing him to go and pick up his wife from Star General Hospital and transfer her without any explanation. Ruben's wife, Florence, was rushed to Nema Hospital accompanied by the doctors from Star General, and after examinations, the doctors informed them that she had a ruptured uterus and her baby had died.
Madaktari hao wote waliitwa na madaktari wa kule Nema. Wakaulizwa kwa nini mlikuwa mnataka kuua huyu mama na mtoto wake.
Star General Hospital reached out to the family, telling them they would help pay the bill incurred at Nema Hospital so that the case does not proceed. NTV spoke to Ruben's wife, Florence, who informed us that she was left alone, naked, on the bed and instructed to deliver by herself without any help from a doctor or a nurse, as the doctor would only come in just to supervise and leave. At some point, she lost her strength after the long struggle alone. The family reported the matter at Raraka police station. They are calling on well-wishers to help them settle the bill at Nema Hospital. Efforts to speak to Star General management proved futile. Helen Aura, NTV.
To security matters, and hundreds of locals from Kapindasum area, Mukutano ward in Baringo County, turned up for the burial of 5 people who were killed by unknown bandits on the 21st of last month. The 5, 3 of whom were primary school children, were sleeping when the bandits ambushed them and shot them dead. NTV's Helen Wanjohi has more.
Families members in agony as they said their final goodbyes to their kin. The 3 primary school pupils and 2 adults who had been grazing their cattle during the day fell victims to the bandits who stormed in at 3 a.m. and shot them dead, walking away with over 60 head of cattle and a G3 gun. This is the second time the Ilchamus community are having a mass funeral service, the other one being 2 years ago when they buried 11 people in one grave. Looking at the beautiful lush green area of Baringo County, it's hard to tell whether there are conflicts, but the Mukutani ward tells of another tale. There has been a dispute on the boundary of Mukutani, with Pokot leaders claiming that Mukutani is in Tiati.
Kufuniwa kila wakati tuseme tu tuko kwa amani, tuko kwa amani, tuko kwa nini? Tuseme kwamba kuna conflict ya boundary na tunafaa kusolve, county commissioner.
This has led to the area having 2 administrative arms, 2 chiefs, one for Ilchamus representing Mukutani ward and the other for Makutano to represent Pokot of Tanglubei ward. Recently, Mukutani leaders from Tiati and Baringo South exchanged words openly, and the Tiati MP nearly clashed with the Baringo governor.
Ndugu yangu, najua saa hii yeye anasema hapa ni kwake, hapa ni nini, lakini baba ambaye amelete vitu mnaelewa tu. Hakuna mtu, sio mwanaume ndugu yangu, lakini kama viongozi tumepewa jukumu ya raia, sio jukumu yangu.
Kwa nini ukaita hiyo wadi yenu mkutani? Kwa nini ukuita Logumgum? Kwa nini ukuita Kiserian? Kwa nini ukuita matauni yote? Kwa nini ukaita mkutani? Si katika hali ya kunyakua. Sasa ndio ukifika hapa wanasema niko mkutani wapi? Unajua maana mengine sisi si wajinga na sisi si watoto.
The leaders in the area have made calls to the IBC to come and settle the boundary issue to avert more losses of lives. Helen Wanjohi, NTV.
Well, it's time for a first short break on NTV Weekend Edition. When we return, remember, we are in Kirinyaga County, county number 20, hashtag Moshere Edition. Edmund Nyabole and Olive Barrows standing by to give you the latest from that end of the country. Stay with us.
A very good evening to you. We are coming to you live from the beautiful Maya Gardens in Sagana in Kirinyaga County, where we are spending our second night on NTV on the Road Mushere edition as we build up, of course, to next week's devolution conference to be held within this county.
Well, it's been an adventurous day. I personally have been snuggling up or trying to snuggle up to a baby crocodile. I'll just tell you that did not go very well. I also jumped off a 60-meter incline. And thankfully there was no or I would not be standing here before you. But before we get to the recreation, let's get down to the main business of Kirinyaga County. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is rice. Smell that.
Shuri.
Smells amazing, doesn't
Shuri.
it?
It does, it does.
All right.
All right, now rice farmers in Kirinyaga County want the national government to step in and help them source markets for their produce. The farmers say they are producing a lot of rice but are only depending on small-scale buyers who buy 20 kilograms at the most for their consumption.
NTV's Kennedy Mureithi explores the business of rice in Mwea.
The expansive paddy fields welcome you to Mwea Sub-County, Kirinyaga County. A drive through the area gives you a first sense of the crop that is predominantly grown in this part of the county. Rice farming is their daily bread. Records show that there are at least 15,000 rice farmers in Mwea who have over time tried to get the best out of their sweat. Every harvest season, farmers pray for the best as they seek to have a bumper one. It is not an easy journey. On the paddy fields, there are birds that are not welcome and have become a menace to the farmer who has to keep a keen eye in order not to lose their yield.
Serikali hii akaunti nimeipongeza juu wakati tulisema kuna ndege nyingi sana zimekunja ya kukula mchele, waliweza tu kunyunyizia ndawa hiyo ndege sehemu moja tu kidogo, lakini wakasema ndawa imeisha, kwa hivyo ndege ziko tele.
After harvesting, farmers have different ways of selling their produce. At the Mwea Rice Growers Multipurpose Cooperative Society, rice brought in by farmers is being dried for storage. The society hosts about 7,000 members who bring their rice once harvested and wait for payday.
We give them seeds, we give them fertilizers and chemicals. And also we give them other services like we plow for their land using rotavators, and also from there we harvest on their behalf.
Rice, once dried with its husks, can stay up to 7 years. Other farmers opt to take their produce to the many factories that have mushroomed over time as they hope for fast cash. The rice is delivered to these factories dried and processed immediately. These factories have also attracted numerous vendors who have gotten into the business of selling it straight at the factory's doorstep. This mode has attracted customers who come from far and wide as they pass by the busy Mwea town.
Mchele ni mingi, watu wa kukula ndiye hakuna.
Mchele kisimamishwa ya hiyo Pakistani inatokanga nje, tunaweza warisha Wakenya wote.
Sasa hata vile tulikuwa tunalima vizuri sana tupate faida. Sasa hata watu wameanza kukataa kulima juu hata ukilima hakuna faida.
At this time, the price stands at about 120 shillings per kilogram.
Traders say efforts to have their produce bought on a large scale have not been successful, and that has left them with more than they would want, thus the price.
Kennedy Mureithi, NTV in Kirinyaga County.
Staying with business in Kirinyaga County, now to the business of crocodile farming. Washington Otip has spent the last 13 years of his life acting as caretaker to the predator with the strongest bite recorded.
He is a crocodile handler. Now he grooms them from hatchlings to 13-year-olds for their skin, which attracts a pretty penny on the international market.
Well, we spent the morning with him on Kirinyaga's Galaxy Crocodile Farm, and he shared a bit of his experience in handling the semi-aquatic reptile.
Atakaza waende kwa maji. Nilikuwa nafanya na road masika management Nairobi opposite KBC. Sasa tukakuja tukasimamishwa kazi. Kazini wangu alikuwa chief licensing officer KWS, ndiye akasema ngojea. Sasa nilingojea karibu miezi 3 hivi. Akaniambia kazi imetokelezea Sagana. Sasa akaniambia njoo headquarter, nikaenda nikamiti hawa Koreans. These are Southern Koreans. Tukaongea. Wakasema kuna gari itawachukua T-room. Tulikuwa tu 7. Aliniambia ni kazi ya mamba. Sasa pia mimi sijawahi kufanya kazi ya mamba. Though mamba nilikuwa naona huko nyumbani kwetu Western. Busia kuna mheshimiwa mmoja alikuwa na farm by that time, alikuwa mudi ya uore. Alikuwa na farm. Sasa mimi kuja hatukuwa na mamba, hata hatukuwa na mayai, tukapelekwa Garissa, Tana River kwenda kufanya hiyo trip inaitwa egg collection. Nilikuwa kwa hiyo team ya watu kwenda. Sasa huko hata vile nilikuwa naambiwa nichukue mamba, mayai hatu collect mayai. Sasa walikuwa na hatch kwa drum Sasa tulikuwa na manager alikuwa anaitwa Gilbert Galana. Ndio sasa alikuwa niambia, "Wewe Washington, toa mayai unaona nini imeshoot." Toa sasa nikienda kushika ikanifanya nini? Ikaniuma. Hapo ikiangalia kidole imeniuma na ni vile sasa kaniambia wewe tia tu roho sasa. Sasa from there nikazoea sasa. Naweza handle nini mambo yote. Asiogopi. Nitaogopaje nini ndio kazi yangu kufanya. Siwezi ogopa. Siwezi ogopa. Sasa mambo ushika hivi Mambo ushika hivi. Ushike mambo mkia na umeacha kichwa. Kwa maana iko very flexible, itatana alafu ikubite. Mwili wa mamba haitaki kuwa ngumu sana. Inataka kuwa wet. Hata akikosa maji, akose chakula lakini asikose maji. Akikosa maji kama kuna jua, at a temperature of 31 onwards, utaona watafight kwa maana wana maji. Sasa watakuwa hiyo temperature inawahit sana. Sisi haja yetu sana ni ngozi. Hiyo nyama hata tunapatiana hizi zingine zinakuwa. Naona hizi pens. Hizi zote paka huko zinakula 600 kg. Mamba hana ulimi. Yeye ukimwekea yeye anachukua tu up, akula, anameza tu.
You'll find this hard to believe, but I actually found it easier, like jumping off the 60-meter incline, than putting a hand on that reptile.
Were you scared?
Terrified.
But you had fun.
Yes, today has been an absolutely fun day.
All right. Now, parts of Kirinyaga County border Mount Kenya forest and provided the perfect cover for Mau Mau operatives as they took on British colonialists in the fight for independence.
One of the men who was involved in the fight was Gashoki Mutagatwe, also known as Frederick Gashoki, but who gained fame as General Moroto.
He spoke to NTV's Brenda Wanga on how he beat the charge of murdering 30 people and why he still walks with a noticeable limp.
His stride is long and measured, slowed down by age physically, but mentally still as sharp and deeply convicted about his values as he was 66 years ago when he joined the Mau Mau resistance movement to kick the colonialists out of his motherland. The then tall, strong and fearless Gashoki Mutagatwe quickly rose through the Mau Mau ranks to become General Mogoto. His exploits in the bush spreading far and wide, culminating in him being charged for the murder of 30 people.
It's 7. No, it's 6. Basi wakati mimi nilishikwa na serikali na wale ambao walikuwa wanasema maneno yetu ni wale tulikuwa na wao huko msituni. Wale wanageuka wanakuja kwa serikali ya Uingereza. Waingereza ndio walikuwa adui yetu.
He says the fight for the country's liberation was not an easy one, but it was one that him and his compatriots swore to see to the very end. His disdain for the white man still evident. He says he was enticed severally to turn against his fellow fighters, but his conscience will not allow him to betray his people.
Kamuzungu kalikuwa kanatoka upande wa Narumoro. Kalikuwa kabubi tukananipika wakati tukisimama, kaniambia Makoto, ukinieleza mambo yote mimi nitakusaidia. Sasa mimi nikiangalia hata mwili yake, akili yangu inaona mbaya sana. Huyu ananiambia na ndio wanatuua, tamwambia namna gani?
He was imprisoned in Kadhigiri and in Hola, where hard labor was the order of the day.
Mashamba yalikuwa ya mshele. Huko naye kule tulikuwa tunatengeneza kwa maji Hola.
He was released from prison in 1963, just as Kenya prepared for her independence. Decades have since passed and the century has turned, but General Mogoto still lives with permanent reminders of that time he spent in the bush.
Kukutana huyo mzungu, mimi ndio nilikuwa naongoza hiyo kundi. Akaniambia, wewe nani? Akamwambia, mimi Mogoto. Wewe Mogoto, keti chini, piga wote. Nikigeuka hivi na nilisikia hiyo risasi inaanza kulia. Pigwa hii. Iko hapo sasa hata sasa.
Not that there have been a shortage of offers to do so. It is a badge of honor, he says, one that he will wear until his last days here on earth. Brenda Wanga, NTV, in Kirinyaga County.
Such an amazing story, that one.
Yes, it is. Now, it's a weekend activity many rave about. Replete with the Sagana Starter Park, many over the years have visited savage wilderness, either for the thrill of it or in search of adventure.
Now, you can choose from a wide range of activities, which is bungee jumping, ziplining, stand-up paddleboarding, canoeing, and even white water rafting. This lovely lady standing next to me took a leap on the wild side of life and brings us this report.
It's the moment of truth. Now, earlier at 1 p.m, I promised to take the jump. I can't back out. We'll see if Salim Swale will be behind me. So part of the process, the first process, is I need to get weighed. I did sign an indemnity form. I'll need to get that one for you so that you can just have a look and get a sense. Don't zoom in too close. We don't want people seeing what my real weight is. Even he's surprised. So as I mentioned, there's an indemnity form. Let me just ask Swale. Swale, can you pass it to me, the form, so that I can just show guys what it looks like. That arm that was sticking out is Swale's. So basically, this just means that I confirm that I am not prone to heart attacks, that I'm not pregnant, and I've never had neck or back surgery. And yeah, I assume the risk for taking the jump. So now it's time to put on the harness. We'll see who between myself and Salim Swale is a wuss. Okay. So I just climb all the way up. Yep. All right, guys. See you on the other side. You'll be down by the water, yeah? Waiting. If it takes me a minute, you may have to push me, but let's hope I go of my own volition. All right, this is not for anyone who's afraid of heights.
Are you nervous?
A little bit, yeah, I wouldn't lie.
If she wasn't, I would be expecting drugs. Alcohol at least. You ready?
Yeah.
The camera team ready? You need to talk to them, or they're naturally
He should be ready, right?
Yeah. I'm ready. Oliver is coming down.
Say something! You can't! That was terrifying. I now get what you guys are saying about the ankles. They feel like jello. Okay, guys, I won't lie. Yeah, it was not as easy as you guys made it seem. Wow! Yay! Oh, my poor ankles. Yay! Relief. We did it. It wasn't so bad, but there was a point up there where I was so close to not jumping. I was contemplating asking that guy if I can come back down all the steps. Yeah, but he was pretty cool. And like a lot of the guys we spoke to earlier, I asked him to push me off. And it's not really like a hard shove. you're watching the videos. It's not really like a hard shove. It's just, you know, it sort of gets you into that mental space now where you're ready to jump. So even before he goes 3 off the edge. So I haven't snapped anything, which is good. It wasn't bad. I'm not sure I'll do it again. Yeah, but it wasn't bad.
You did so many scary things today.
I did, yes, I did. And I only have this to say, been there, done that, and got the t-shirt.
All right, all right. Brag away, brag away. It's my turn tomorrow.
But, yes. But away from that, the legend goes, once upon a time, a contractor was hired to construct a bridge across River Nyamindi in Kirinyaga County, right where a landmark bridge had stood for years.
Now, one morning, as he made his way to the construction site, all his building materials had been swept away by heavy rains. The reply by the people of Kirinyaga was simple: do not touch Darasha Yagae, since it is God's own creation.
The bridge has remained intact for years, and the people of Kirinyaga believe it was and still is God's own masterpiece to aid them in crossing the river to either sides of Mururi and Ndivada.
Now, NTV's Melita Oletenges reports about the legend of God's bridge in Kirinyaga.
River Nyamindi flows with life, cutting through the hilly terrain of Kirinyaga. One passage across the river stands out, the Darasa Yangai. An aerial view of the bridge portrays a normal, albeit dusty bridge. But as we seek to explore beneath the bridge, a tight rock cluster on the boulders that hold the bridge, a clear sign that no human hands could have welded this together.
Na kuna wakati ilisemekana wasungu walijaribu kuibomoa ndiye wajenge daraja ya kisasa, lakini Mungu akakasirika, wakiamukia usiku ingine wakakuta hiyo daraja imerudi tena. Huyo msungu akahamisha hiyo njia tena akaipeleka upande wa juu.
The belief has gained traction over the years that any negative occurrence that happens near the bridge or the river is said to be against God's wish.
Kuna siku mvua ilimwagika kubwa sana, hata watu walishangaa hiyo maji ilitoka wapi. Na ikakunja ikabeba hiyo ukuta wote, na hiyo maji ikapita na ikasaulika, na ikukunja mvua nyingine kama hiyo. Sasa ningesema hii ni moja yapo ya ile activity ya tourism site sile ambayo tunafanya Kirinyaga, kwa sababu Kirinyaga ndio iko na site mingi kuliko kaunti zote.
Due to its popularity, the bridge attracts many tourists, not just for its scenic views and legend of the God's Bridge, but also bird watching, wildlife inhabiting the thickets, and the treacherous nature trail that poses a challenging adventure to hikers.
Mtu akisikia daraja ya Mungu alijenga, anasikia tamaa ya kunja. Kwa sababu ile kitu inanipendeza ndani yangu, nikikunja na mgeni hapa akinjionea kama activity moja ya tourism, nafaidika. Na hata mimi nafurahia vile naona huyo mgeni amefurahia.
But there are risks involved. Several lives have been lost in the still waters that run deep. Stray hikers and those with unpleasant activities to God's eyes are said to be the victims.
Kulingana na vile wanaona na vile wanasikia story hapa kutoka zamani. Hiyo kitu ikifanyika wanasema patakatifu na hawafai kusumbuliwa na mtu yoyote. Wanavaa wakae hivyo Mungu aliwacha. Ndio unaona sasa wamemwacha vichaka kwa sababu hata watu wa area hawataki kulima.
The bridge continues to serve many of the residents here, get across the river and go about their businesses. The legend of the bridge, laid down by an unseen supernatural being, lives on.
Stories of how the Darasa young guy acquired its legend may be true or not true, but what is clear is that this mysterious architectural marvel is a wonder to all those who visit this site. It holds a great significance to residents of Kirinyaga County. Melita Oletenges, NTV at the Darasa young guy, Kirinyaga County.
Time for us to now take a breather.
But when we come back, we have something in store for you. It's cultural and it's traditional. Take a listen.
Hiya, go. Yes.
Thank you for staying with NTV Weekend Edition. We're on the road and coming to you live from the beautiful Maya Gardens here in Sagana. Now in another county, and that is the county of Homa Bay, the county residents are collecting signatures to dissolve the entire county government, and that includes the executive and the legislature over claims of mismanagement and massive corruption. Under a lobby group called the Homa Bay County Citizens Association, the residents now want the national government to appoint an independent commission to take over the running of the county and order fresh elections after 90 days. NTV's Oko Kusa reports.
I caught up with Walter Opio at the dilapidated Homa Bay County Stadium.
A good spectacle, Martin.
In his black backpack, he showed me several books bearing signatures of people he says are in support of his cause, that of dissolving the county government of Homa Bay.
They say we are making noise, but we are not making noise. These are facts. And if you walk around, leave alone the stadium that we are in now, if you walk around to some other places, like say far away in Suba North, Kigoto, that is Maize Miller. It is stalled there. When you come to about 2 kilometers from here, Arujo Animal Feed is as well stalled.
Walter and his group say that they are acting in the interest of the people of Homa Bay, whom they claim have been deprived of proper and efficient service delivery due to an alleged rot in the top leadership of the county.
We have collected over 56 and more thousands, and we have passed the threshold. We now want to get more because it is only needed, the 10% of the registered voters in the county is the ones that are needed, but we want past the threshold so that the dissatisfaction of the people in Homa Bay County, the voters, show their dissatisfaction. And we are hoping to get more than 200,000, and then we will collect this and take to the president where we petition.
Prior to the signature collection drive, Walter and his colleagues had petitioned the president through a letter where they expressed their dissatisfaction with the manner in which Governor Cyprian Awiti's government was running the affairs of the county.
3 years to go, do you see some...
No, nothing. Worse than now that they know that they are moving out from the office. What do we expect? They are taking money, they are going. They are going. The other time here, last week, 7 days back, a minister has resigned here. Minister from Trade and Industrialization resigned.
Billions of shillings cannot be accounted for. Where did this money go? So first and foremost is corruption in the county. Second, when there is a corruption, then things cannot be done outright.
So all monies that have been coming to Homa Bay County, they are going to individual pockets. So there is nothing to celebrate on completely.
We are still urging the governor to remove the cartels in the office so that the remaining 3 years we can do something to us as the resident of this county.
Actually, I'm very satisfied, and even with the project that the county government is undertaking, the plans that they have for the common wananchi, I'm satisfied with that.
According to Article 192 of the Kenyan Constitution 2010, the president may suspend a county government on 2 grounds. 1, in an emergency arising out of internal conflict or war, and 2, in any other exceptional circumstances. Homa Bay County has for the past few years been engulfed in endless wrangles and court cases that have adversely affected operations both at the executive and the legislative arm of the county government. Okukusa, NTV.
In case you're wondering where Edmond has disappeared to, no cause for alarm. He's been patiently waiting to engage a male representation of the Kirinyaga community. Over to you, Edmond.
Thank you so much, Olive. Now, the place of the boy child in society is being talked about now more than ever. And here in Kirinyaga County, we have elders who've actually taken it upon themselves to try and train these young boys and groom them into men within the society in their own cultural and traditional ways. And I'm joined by 2 elders who have been taking care of this business, at least for this county. First of all, what is that?
This is a maze of authority.
Once it's standing means what?
Now we are in business now.
Oh, all right.
We are in business.
Session is on now.
It's on and it's official now.
All right. Mr. Chairman, let me ask you the first question. You had a forum today and a discussion with the boys. What was that about?
Actually, we have been trying to engage with the boy child so that the Kikuyu community has, we are trying now to engage the boy child so that we can have the future tomorrow. Because as much as we have the church part of it, we also need the culture of the Kikuyu community.
All right. What are some of the things that you teach them that are a bit cultural and traditional? What ways do you want to instill in them?
First of all, we have to remind the man that he is the protector of children and women. And just to bring you to speed about what has been happening between couples, you have seen that the man has vacated his position as the protector and as the provider of leadership. So we have been engaging these young people and reminding the old that that position is the divine position.
All right.
That the man has to be the leader, the protector, and the provider of both material and leadership.
All right. Finally, a lot of the boys these days are westernized in terms of culture. Do you get any sort of resistance from them in terms of adopting the ways that you want to instill in them?
Yeah, at times we do, but we are trying to teach them that our culture, our forefathers, where we are coming from, that they must be the protector, they must stand as men, and they must be the protector of the community and their homesteads.
All right. Thank you so much. The elders from Kirinyaga County who have been engaging the young boys, as you can see them in front of us here, in terms of their ways, their traditional ways, cultural ways, making sure that they instill in them the skills of taking care of the home and being responsible for the women and their kids in future thereof. Thank you so much from us, myself and Olive Barrows here in Kirinyaga County. We spend another night here, and of course we'll be here from 1 p.m. tomorrow all the way to 9 p.m. and 7 p.m. as well, as we cover this county, of course building up towards the Devolution Conference, which takes place in this county next week. From us, bye-bye.
Thank you for staying with NTV Weekend Edition. A lot and great stories coming from Kirinyaga County. Remember, we'll also still be there tomorrow, and even as we look into the 6th Devolution Conference that starts next week. But back to some of the top stories of the day, and though a human resources practitioner by profession, Tuta Mionki is better known for her love for the motorsports. Famously known as Kenya's top female rally navigator, in 2018 Tuta was crowned Motorsports Personality of the Season for her achievements in the sport. I caught up with her at a training session and she shared her journey in this week's Women in Power.
My name is Tuta Mionki. I'm a rally navigator. I've done this for 8 years now. I started as a spectator, have fun, like could go around the country just watching rallies, and thought that why not? If those guys in the car can do it, why can't I do it? I met Eric as a spectator. We were both fans, and we were watching, I remember, a rally in Gong in 2007, and started talking about why can't we do this? I would love to do that. So when he acquired the car, he called me up, are you still interested in doing this? I'm like, oh, definitely. So he's given me a good opportunity to get to where I am. What we do before the event, we have what we call recce. Basically go out on the route that has been prepared by the organizing team. We write our pace notes with the driver, basically the directions, the commands, what I tell him, keep left, avoid this, avoid that, what we're approaching next, to enable him drive as fast as he can and avoid any obstacles that you have on the way. So we have what we call a time card. That's the role of the navigator, to ensure that you get the correct time from the controllers. I feel safer in a rally car than I feel in a normal road car. If you have a look at the car, you'll notice that we have a roll cage. You can roll 10, 12 times, but the structure is so strong that you don't dent the car, or rather you don't bend the car. It doesn't cave in. We have like 2 layers of fireproof clothing, the socks, the shoes, the balaclava that we wear on the head. That gives you a short window in case of a fire too, because for example, in this car we're using avgas. So catching a fire is something that will happen very quickly. I actually got into this from 2011, and in 2009 I was in a road accident and I'd fractured both arms. So my parents were initially wondering, what are you thinking, you know? You just came from 5 to 8 months, like off work, just recovering from your broken arms, and now you're going into a dangerous sport. HR is my bread and butter. This is a hobby. Unfortunately, in this country, we don't have professional sports. We have very few professional sports, and motorsport is one of the amateur sports that we have. If people got paid, or we got more corporate sponsors coming in, and this is an excellent tool for marketing. If people realize how big it is and what it does for their brand, we'll probably be able to get to a point where we get motorsport as a professional sport. When, for example, if I'm going to get a rally suit, the first thing in my mind is that as a woman you want to remain clean the whole day, you know, from morning to evening. You won't think of something that will show that. If you want to use like the washroom, for example, a man will go behind a tree. It doesn't work the same way for women. So if I was an organizer, I'll probably put a mobile washroom at the start of a section. That's something that men won't think about. Don't blame them, it just doesn't cross their mind. But because we have very few women in the sport, some of these things don't come up. I think it's great to receive that kind of appreciation, because for me it means that other women and small girls, we have small girls as young as 6-year-old who are coming into the sport. They have somebody to maybe look up to. We have women who paved way for us, the likes of Orie Rogo Manduli. Some people might not know that, but she raised way in the 80s with her co-driver Sylvia Owino. We have Michelle Van Tongren. So they paved way. We just need to keep doing it so that it doesn't become a completely male-dominated sport with no women.
Well, that is Tuta Mionki for you. And actually, she says there was 15 women in what she does, but now they're down to less than 5. So more women are needed in this discipline. And as she says, it takes passion and dedication in this field. Well, another short break on NTV Weekend Edition. Brian Otwal is already in studio to bring us the latest from the sporting world.